Wow, long time no see. I just wanted to do a quick video to update the garden, which has now kind of shifted into an urban homestead. So there's been some changes. So I'm just going to do a quick tour of that. So the garden is not running at full capacity right now, but that's because we've been doing a lot of work around the yard and the house, and I've recently added some friends, which would be my flock here. We have 2 ducks and 4 chickens. Some of them are hiding. Ignore the water that needs to be changed today, which is part of why I'm up so early. I have to leave for work at 8:30. We've also got some new additions such as roses. So this is a climbing variety. I plan on having that trail over the top of this eventually. I also want to get some grapevines as well, because we do have this big gazebo that it can climb up into these corners, and hopefully we'll have lots of grapevines there. I also have a small tree variety of rose. This is called a kimchi rose. In different stages of maturity. They are different colors. They start off as yellow, and then they develop beautiful pink, and then they start to turn a pale white in their prime. But the amazing thing about raising roses with your chickens and ducks is that they can eat the spent blooms, and it's actually full of amazing vitamins and minerals, specifically niacin, which is a little bit of a difficult one to keep into your flock's diet. Ducks need it specifically much more than chickens do. But keeping any natural forms of niacin in their diet is better than, constantly having to supplement. If they don't have this niacin, their little legs will start to buckle underneath of them and can't hold their weight. And I do have one particularly large duck. Let me flip the camera. Nope, we're not flipping the camera because it's going to cut it into multiple clips and I won't upload it. But this, let me open the door. How about that? That big gray duck there, she's a Swedish blue, which is actually an endangered species. So I'm working pretty hard to preserve her health. The other duck is a rowan, which is a domestic version of a mallard, essentially. They're both girls. They are not laying just yet. They are only, they're probably 16 weeks at this point, along with my 2 little chicks that I purchased at the same time. So my 2 original chickens, the gray one is a sapphire gem. Chicken fight. The gold and black one is an Easter egger. And then my other 2, one of them is a cinnamon queen, and the other one I'm thinking is a mutt. She has like a curly tail, which is really odd, but the rest of her feathers are not frizzled, so I don't think she is a frizzle per se. So we'll see as she gets bigger what she ends up being. I also just got a fig tree here. Yeah. So that should be, I believe it's purple mission figs. I do have this bed up and running right now. So this right here is a chia plant. It has beautiful purple flowers. It just went through a blooming cycle, so I should have blooms probably next week from that guy. What else we have? Green tomatillos. Let me see if I can find one. I know it has set fruit. Oh, here we go. Here is some. And then I also need to pull my coriander to harvest these seeds. I keep them for culinary uses, as well as I throw half of them back into the garden so my cilantro comes back the next year. I also have my early girl tomatoes. I'm hoping to have at least one ripe by my birthday next week. That would be nice. The tomatillo branches are extending this way as well. Deep down in here, there is some squash plants, or cucumbers. Don't know. I can't even get the camera down there. So here we go. Right here. Any advice on that? Is that a squash? A cucumber? Not sure. And then this huge, massive field of tomatoes is the yellow sun gold pear or cherry tomatoes. They are pear-shaped. And then there's also potatoes down underneath that mess of tomatoes. What else has changed out here? So my large 6x6 bed currently looks like this. And that is because my neighbors across the street have, you see that pine tree? There used to be one that extended to be about that whole open space between that tree and that tree. And it was all blocked by one gigantic, super old pine tree. Anyways, they chopped that sucker down. And now this part of my garden gets so ridiculously hot. I am bordering the desert. I'm closer to the desert than I am to the beach, pretty much. So it's very dry, sandy clay soil. Lots of amending has to go on here. But I need to put up shade cloth that extends from the gazebo to the fence to shade that area in. Everything was just frying no matter how much water I was using, and it got to the point where I was just wasting water. So I was watering multiple times a day and not even yielding anything to eat. Everything was just so burnt. I also have this new, well, new to me, but my neighbor was gonna throw it away. It's a composting bin. So I use this to compost any garden scraps. It also has my rabbit and guinea pig droppings as well. So those are both super amazing fertilizers for not only your vegetables, but also your roses and your figs. So that worked out perfect. The rabbits do actually live in my house, just because there's way too many predators in my neighborhood. But here they are, boys and girls and guinea pigs. So heading back outside, they're screaming for breakfast. I fed the chickens and then started this video. We do need to trim this big old schefflera back. Very big tree. I also have this area that is new to work with. There used to be palm trees here, but they have been removed. So I'm thinking of maybe throwing a planter box up there. I recently threw some turf down in this area. Need to finish mulching around the tree, but it will look much nicer. It was just dirt. I actually had the chicken coop there before, but it was bringing too many rats and mice near to the house. So we moved them to the farthest point of this lower yard. We do still have 2 more tiers of land that sprawls back to the house behind us. I'm hoping to get goats to go up there, just to keep the weeds down. It gets so ridiculously crazy with the weeds over there. Also, my giant African blue basil actually broke in the process of us moving the chicken coop, but it is rebounding beautifully. I also have some peppermint, spearmint, rosemary. Could you even see them? So those are here in pots. I actually plucked some of the rooted mint strands out of that pot and planted them over by the Schefflera. So there's actually a spot where the air conditioner drips its water runoff, like the condensation from the unit. Peanut, that's my chihuahua. So that area is constantly moist. Also that area is pretty ugly, so getting any type of greenery is good, but also peppermint keeps the mice and rats away. And my husky has brought my work shoe outside. So I'm gonna call this video there. I just wanted to do a quick tour of what the homestead is currently looking like. So I gotta feed these dogs and these rabbits, and I will talk to y'all soon.